Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to replace um, your lower control arm and your, I think it's called the radius bush or the Z-bar bushes, whatever you want to call them, or caster bushes, that's the other one. Yeah, if I still have the clip, I'll show you of what my wheel's been doing. But yeah, so I've asked, because I wasn't actually sure myself for once, you know. No, I'm just joking. I don't know shit. But yeah, I asked on the Commodore thing. They said most likely my caster bushes. So here we are. I do know my lower control arm bushes are buggered as fuck. So it's just best to replace them. So I've ordered just a brand new lower control arm that came with rubber bushes itself, as is about $100. My control arm's a tiny bit different because mine is a VT Series 1, so it doesn't have a nut, it's just clamped in. So you'll see further in the video. So the only thing that's really going to differ is you'll have a nut on top, which is a tiny bit harder to get out. I think it's harder, but yeah. So we're going to start off with putting your car on jacks, and I make it easy by driving up onto ramps and then putting them on jack stands. But yeah, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so what you're going to need is lower control arms. So I've ordered brand new lower control arms, and they came with rubber bushes, but I was going to upgrade to better ones anyway. I could have used my other lower control arm, but I was just getting new parts, might as well. So I ended up going with SuperPro's polyurethane. So that's why there's a blue bush in the back but none in the middle at the moment, as the one on the end had to be pushed in with a machine or by hand or whatever. Like, we can't do it, but like with the, you can either use a vice bench, a shop press, or you can just go to a mechanic shop and have them press all the bushes out and then put the polyurethane in. So I recommend just going to a shop instead of having to buy like a $200 shop press. But yeah, so I've got the rear one in because that one's it's like a complete thing, but the middle one they're cut in half and you put one on each side and there's a cross tube. Same with the end one, there is a cross tube, but that one is not cut in half, so it has to be pressed in. So you're going to need your lower control arm, and then this is the SuperPro polyurethane kit that it came in the box. So this one was the end pieces that were already pressed in, so that's the code number, or you can buy the kit itself. This is the one that's middle, that's not been pressed out. As you can see, it's two halves, so one will go in one side and through the other, and then if you can see in the packaging, there's a metal tube that go through. But there's that, and then this is your it's called the caster bushes, like the front one, because that's your rear caster. That middle one, that's your front one, so it's a big boy. So yeah, there's the plates and all that, and then it all comes with its, I think it's silicone grease that you need to coat them in, but you'll see that in the video, but I was just showing you. So that's the whole kit that it comes with. It's just the whole lower control arms and the caster bushes. Yeah, I thought there would be a part, like a code number for the whole kit, but if I find it, it'll be in the description for the whole kit. But yeah, so you're gonna need that. So I forgot to record the tools you're going to need. So here it's just my shit cutout that I've made myself. But you're gonna need a spanner set, because we had to use some spanners to get some of the bolts out. Ratcheting's better, usually the time, unless they're really stuck, but I just prefer ratcheting. So we ended up using some of these. I think we used like a 13 and two 19s. So you have those. Then we have our socket set. We ended up using two different sets because we needed two 19s. And I just had two different sets. So I used a 3/8 and then 1/2 inch, I think it is, set. So we ended up using those sets, and then I ended up using an extension and a hammer to hammer some of the I think it was a ball joint that got hammered out, and that was just so I gave me enough clearance so I didn't hit anything. So I ended up using that. You're also going to need a torque wrench to torque all the bolts down to spec, recommended as it's suspension. So we're using the torque wrench, then the hammer as I stated, with the other extension bar, so your hammer to hammer shit out. Then you have your locking nose pliers that I ended up using for the caliper, for the sliding, I think they're called the sliding bolts, sliding pins, as to undo one of the bolts. There's a nut that spins, and usually you can use a wrench on it, or a whatever you call it. But yeah, mine just kept sliding around, so I pinched it with these and then undo the bolt. So yeah, that's what you're gonna need. So now we're going to take off the wheel. So, you know, before you put all the jack stands, make sure to crack them so they're loose, and then yeah, you can undo them. So once you come under the car, once the wheel's off, you're going to look for this bar. So this is your caster nut, or your rear caster. So this is the nut that we're going to crack. This is going to be very fucking hard. Sometimes you have to get the jack under there. But yeah, so we're going to crack that just so it's loose, and then we'll move on to the rear of the lower control arm, and then crack those, and then either just take that out, and then the ball joint is next. So we'll just start with this one. So the size of this nut is 30 mils. I've got a 30 mil socket, and we're going to try and undo it without the jack. So this will be fun. Oh, fuck, there goes my knuckle. So hopefully this shows you how it works, but socket's on there, that's just holding it so it doesn't fall back, and then ratchet in right at the end of this. So now we're gonna see if this works. Hopefully it does. Sorry if this is wobbly, but I'm gonna try and see if I can show you. Just holding it by hand instead of on the stand. You wanna pump the jack like that. It's moving. Alright, let's see if it's cracked the nut at all. So we grab this bad boy, move the jack out the way. Now we can check. Oh yeah, so it did undo. There we go. There we go. So now we can leave that for now, and then we'll crack the other bolts. Okay, so next we are going to undo, or yeah, just loosen that right at the back there. So to come in with the, what do you call it, the steering rack is, there is a nut. It's so dark in there. There's a nut like right there, and then there's a nut under through that little hole here at the back, and yeah, so there's a nut and a bolt end. And so what I do, so I get my short one on the steering rack side, and then get my deep socket through that little cutout in the frame there. So yeah, I'll put this back on the stand and just show you. So as you can see, I've got the small one there in between power steering rack, and then that one's in there. So you're just gonna crack this loose. Just check that's correct. That's the bolt side. I mean, yeah, the bolt and the nuts on the inside there. So at least that's cracked now. then we're going to remove the caliper and the hub, as even in the, I think it's the Haynes manual, whatever you call it, they recommend that too, to get the ball joint out. So better safe than sorry, because what I did with the other side, because that's already done, I belted the fucker with a hammer, and just in case you don't want to belt it too hard and it hits the hub or the brake disc, that's the one. So yeah, we're gonna move on to taking the caliper off now. So the caliper bolts, we're gonna look for the caliper with all your brake pads and stuff in. And there's two nuts, that one and that one. They are 19 mils. So what do? Let's grab my socket, put it up there, and they can be a bit of a bitch to fucking undo because they're supposed to be tight. So I'll add in an extension bar from my trolley jack there, and yeah, we're just gonna crack it like that. And then I will just crack both. Make it quite simple. Extension thingy in, make life even easier. Like that. And then you should undo them. Before you undo them, you're going to make sure you either have a piece of rope to tie the whole caliper to the strut up here, or like a bungee cord or whatever you call them. I prefer bungees, but the one I had fucking snapped, so yeah, so I'm just going to get a piece of rope or hopefully find a second bungee strap. But yeah, so we'll come back to once I've gotten that, and yeah. So I've taken both caliper bolts out. So now with a bit of persuasion, this should be able to come out. Come on. Be careful not to pull too hard because you don't want to yank it, and I'm not sure if you can see, but there's the brake line. So you want to leave like no resistance on that. So try to get the rest there. I'm going to grab a piece of rope. I'm just going to tie through this little area. Sorry for the bump in the camera. So I'm going to feed some more through. A lot easier with now that that's tied up. Just put the excess rope up there. We can start with taking the hub off now. So sometimes this thing don't want to come off because it's stiff. So what you can do is find some random bolts. I don't know the exact spec they are, but thread them in there and then you tighten them up and it'll pop the hub off, or the caliper off the hub, because it's seized on there a little bit. And then what we can do, since the caliper is removed now, so this is the series 1 VT. So right here where the ball joint is, there's just a nut here, on the nut here, and then the bolt on the other side. Whereas I think it's series 2 VTs and VXs and all that stuff up from that, they just have a nut on top. So pretty sure the gist for that is you undo the nut until the top, and then you put like a socket on top of it and just keep tightening it to pop it out. But with this one, I just undo that and then I fucking belt it with a hammer here. Basically, I just put an extension bar and I belt it with a hammer out. So I'll show you that. But yeah, so we're gonna just take off the hub first. So I'm gonna grab those random bolts. So I put 2 bolts in there. I'm just using a wedging wrench because I can't be fucking changing the sockets out. So what you're gonna do is just hold it in place and then tighten. There you go. And then the hub is now off, so you just pull off, not damaging any threads, and there you go. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take out the caster nut and all that and get the Z-bar out. So I'm just going to fully just take this stuff out. So it looks like a shallow bolt, but it's actually a decently long bolt, goes through a little bit. make sure not to lose the washer. You got to keep that. So just keep it aside like that. And then we're going to move to the front. So if you see, that's the bar we've just done at the other end. So you follow it to the front. And this is your front caster bush. It's a big one, so we're going to undo the nut in the middle. So that's a 24mm nut. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that on there and then crack if it wants to. Okay, so it's not wanting to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that little extension bar thing I showed you on the caliper, put it on there, and then there you go. So now it wants to cooperate. So yeah. So there's that. I like just cracking everything before I have it off. So we also have a 13mm spanner. These should be 13mm nuts, as you can see. So we're just going to undo them. You can either use a socket for this as well. I just find that this is easier. Get them all crack. Alright, so I'm just going to finish taking the middle nut off, and then I'll get these to the end and then cut back to it so it's not ages. Okay, so they're all ready to come off. So middle nut off, and then you can see that there's spacer. Then you've got the disc washer. So I'm going to put those to the side. Then you just got these nuts to come off. This to the side, and then last one, and then this plate should just come off like this, and then just tuck it under that wiring loom there, and that's out. Put that to the side. Then on the inside there's going to be another big washer, and then maybe a small couple of washers at the back depending. But what you're going to do is you're going to twist and pull that towards the front of the car to pull it out of the control arm. Like so, you can see, whoops. See, it comes forward, then you pull it back through to remove the Z-bar itself. And then as you can see, another disc, and then there was another, I think this is 8mm washer. So I usually just leave that on there for now, just to make it easier. And then yeah, so also before you forget, on the one that had that nut, yeah, I'm just laying down, but there's another washer on there. You're gonna have to reuse that. If you buy the SuperPro kit, they usually come with all this new stuff, except the 4 little bolts that went like on these little studs. Keep those and the front nut, but all the washers and stuff should come with it, except the ones that need to be reused. So just letting you know, I'll show you which ones are going to be reused when I get out from under the car. But yes, so we'll get moving on to the next step. Okay, so now we're going to undo the ball joint for the low control arm. So it's this nut here, there's bolt and nut on the other side. So I've got 19mm spanner and placing it on this end. Then you can either use another 19mm spanner or a socket. So we're gonna try it with the socket, and now just try and crack it like so. Get on there. And I'm gonna use my foot. Hold this other one on there, and got that too after I've done that a couple times. Alright, I did that one more time and it worked. So I'm going to switch back to the socket now. So if you have an impact gun, you can also see if it fits in here. And this fucking thing keeps falling off. Yeah, I may be a bit retarded here, but what can you do? So I'll cut two once I've got the bolt out. You don't need to be seen doing more bolts. Alright, bolts off, pull that through. I always do the bolts up so you don't lose them. And then just put them to the side. So now that's out. What we're going to do next is fully take out those bolts at the back, and then I'll show you my little trick with the hammer and the extension bar. Very simple, but yeah. So we're just doing this. Alright. So then I should be able to come out now. Grease. Beautiful. And take the socket off of this side. The bolt might be stuck in there, so what you can do is get your hammer and maybe just like a little screwdriver and then just like punch it through. So I'm going to cut to getting that ready because that is stuck in there. So there's that bolt sticking through. So what I usually do is either grab an extension bar and I'll put that like right on the tip of it and then give it a couple smacks. So it's gonna be too hard to show you with the light and just do that, but and the camera's in the way from the angle I need to do it. But put that there, give it a couple of smacks, and then you might need to switch to a screwdriver if it's still stuck in there. It will be very tight fit getting it out because of the what do you call it, the steering rack being right there. So yeah, that'll be a bit fun. So yeah, I'll cut to once I've got that out. Okay, so we got the bolt out from the other end, so now it's the ball joint. So since it's the clamped version, it's just sitting in there, and I found it the easiest thing. Put my extension bar here and just multiply, just hit it. I'm just trying to get this because out of the camera and this light thing in the way, trying to show you guys. Ball joint is out, and there you go. So basically just falls out like that. And so now we're going to give obviously that area up there here a nice clean in there because that's where the new bushes are going to go. And yeah, so I'm going to spend a tiny bit of time cleaning, and then I'll get the new lower control arm ready to go in. Alright, so we're going to grab my new lower control arm now. So I just finished greasing the edges there. I want to get rid of any debris. So any part that is touching metal, I don't stop bumping the camera. Fucking all this dog hair. Don't get a gold retriever, guys. They fucking shed. Anyway, so I've greased up the edges there. Same there. I've also cleaned up in the groove where it's supposed to go. You can kind of see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to line that up and push the bolt through. Do not think I'm going to be able to show you this, guys, because I can barely show you from here. But yeah, what you need to do is just put the end in there, shove it up, line it up with a hole, and put the bolt through. So I'm going to have to cut to that, and then we'll have to bash this back into the ball joint area, like the holder. So we're up to the ball joint bit. So it's alright if this doesn't line up because this moves because it's no longer connected. So I'm just gonna move it up until it lines up kind of like that. Then what I usually do, grab G-tail, and because I'm going to be belting this with a hammer, there's probably something better for this, but this is my way. you just want to line it up there, and then belt where the T-tail is. So now that we've got it started, just double check. Alright, and now we're just going to continue hammering. Once this is not caught on the fucking... But yeah, so you're just going to continue to do that. So I'm just trying to show you a little close up. You're going to bang it until a tiny bit's through, but remember on the ball joint there's a little divot, and you're going to line that up, because if it's not lined up, the bolt won't be able to slide through, and that's the way it locks it in. So as you can see, a little bend in it kind of thing, like kind of meets with it. So you're going to fit the bolt through, and then yeah, get to tightening them up. Just remember not to do any of these fully tight, like just hand tight. And then once we're on the floor, like we'll put the wheels back on, you torque everything down / make it tight if you don't have a torque wrench. Once there's a load on it, because you want the bushes to be able to move instead of being pinched and then moving, and then just leads to early fucking bush failure. So it's best to just hand tight it, and then yeah, and then once you're on the floor, the rest of the way up. Alright, we're just gonna put the bolts back through like that and like that. Like this, and then we'll just snug them up. Alright, we're going to be putting the rear bush in, so if you're just doing the caster, this you can just do this without removing the control arm, just take that bolt off and everything. But that's the part number from SuperPro, so it comes with 4 of these. I've already done the other side. So it comes with 4 of these blue things, and then they're just gonna go one side in like that and that. So that's basically how they work. We've got to grease them up before we do this though, and then once they're greased in, like they're put in together like this metal tube will go in the middle of them, but it's gonna go in one way, the tube. I'll show you proper everything so you don't forget. So SuperPro kit always come with insulation grease, so we're gonna grease everything that touches metal. So we're gonna grease all around there, that metal plate there, on the back here, and inside where there's some knurling. I'm trying to get that, but if you can kind of see there's some knurling in there, you want to push the grease into that, and then you'll grease this metal tube on the outside, and then push it in with your hand. This one's easy. You don't need to press for this, unlike the other one that was at the back there. So I'm going to set up properly, get this thing open, and we'll grease it up. So just getting some grease. Got one half here. So just what you do around, even on the front of the face there, and some inside. Like so. I'll grease up the edges after I've pushed them in. It's just easier, so you don't get grease everywhere. So just gonna keep greasing. Make sure it's all on that knurling there. Looking good on that metal face plate. Alright, and then just so you don't forget, it's also better to grease the inner thing as well. So good luck with the grease. Just grease it so it's got some. So I just greased up the inside there, and then you're just gonna push one half in, like so. And you'll do the exact same thing to the other side. So I'll quickly grease that off camera, and then I'll show you me pushing it in with the metal insert or / crush tube. Alright, I've got the crush tube all greased up. As you see in the crush tube, there's little lip on one side, and then on the other, nothing. So if you remember that bolt we took out had that big indent towards it, because it looks very shallow, but it's not. So you're going to face the divot end into like the back of the car, the back. So that thick side would be facing the front of the car where the radiator is. So you're just going to push that in. So yeah, just pushed it in and then did that by hand. It is a tiny bit hard by hand, but you can get it. So yeah, now you're just going to grab your Z-bar again, and if you remember correctly, on the end there's two washers, one on the front that goes with the nut and one at the back. So yeah, going to just go put those on now. Alright, I've just greased up that face there, so we're just gonna put that through the hole. Just gonna slide this through the front bit, so it goes up through that hole you put it in, and then that one here, like so. And then I'm just gonna bring you guys around back to this side, and now we grab the 30mm nut. I've also greased that side, and we're just going to tighten this up. Yeah, so I'm just gonna tighten this up, and I'll cut back to you once it's tightened. So I've tightened her up a tiny bit. You want a bit of play in it, so we can do the front bit, and then we'll come back and tighten this down. So as you can see, the front bit's peeking through back through there. If I grab the right bar, you can see that it's got a wiggle room. So we're gonna go onto this bit now. So we'll set up the big front bush, basically that one, but new. So yeah, I'll go back to. So for the front bush, the whole kit comes with grease that I've just opened to use for the other side. So it comes with the face plate, the two big bushes. These are for setting the caster adjustments that it can come with. So it comes with this piece of paper. So depending on the orientation, you can give it negative half caster, shit like this. I'm just doing standard because I have no fucking clue what any of this shit means. Yeah, so you see, like with the standard 8mm at the back, 2mm flat washer, but then you can see on positive 1/4, it's only 8mm and the other two are at the front. So if you know what this means, then good on you. I don't really get into all this mumbo jumbo, even though I should, but yeah, so I'm just going to follow the standard one. So but yeah, so everything comes with this. So you got your crush tube, those washers to adjust it, the faceplate, those two. So yeah, so we'll start setting this up now. Okay, so we've got the smaller one with the nub on it, or if you want to get technical, there's a part number somewhere. We're using the 49778 part. So what we're going to do is we're going to grease the knurling in there, all this nub, the face there, and then also this face. So a bit of grease like this, and then we're just gonna I'll do that end after, but so then that's also going to this face plate. So I'm gonna get a tiny bit of grease on there. Just gonna rub it all over that, and then insert that into there. Just give it a bit of a push. Sometimes it scrapes the grease off, so just grab a tiny bit more, I'll put it on there. Just doing that off camera, just give me a sec. Alright. And then now we're going to do this half wheel that's going right there. So just gonna put the grease there. Give this a bit of a coat. And that goes right there. No, could also add some to the faceplate, but I don't care too much. Now the metal tubing. I'm gonna grease that bad boy up as well. And the aircon just came on, so sorry if that's fucking loud. But yeah, it's a very hot day here today. Just gonna cover this in grease, and we're gonna push it into this. Sometimes see it pushes the grease with it, so I just grab some and add it there. And that's basically ready to go from there. So I'm going to change out the gloves because that's fucking covered, and we're going to be adding these washers onto the thingy and on the faceplate. And yeah, so we're going to move up to over there now. So I'll see you over there. Okay, so we are now looking up at the other end, and I am doing the standard. So right at the back. So you want the smaller end facing that. So we're going to start here, 8mm nut. So the thickest one that's going onto this rod. Push it all the way back. Then double check. Now we need the 2mm washer. So as you can see, these two are smaller, but that one's the smaller, so we're taking that one. And that's going on here. Now, when you look back at it to double check, we need that big spacer now. So we need one of these big boys. So we're putting that on. And this is where it's fun. Sometimes you have to fight the fuck out of this to get that on there, like I did the other side. I don't know why, but I did. Maybe I'm special. I don't know. Alright, grab the paper again. Best to be double sure. So we need that thick 3-ridged facing the back. So we are grabbing the thick 3-ridge, not edge, and we're putting that on here. And pushing that up. Trying to get it to slide on nicely. Sometimes they don't like us. And yes, so that is on now. Then, you know what's happening. We're going back to the paper. So now that we're here, gonna grab our washer, give it a bit of grease on one end, and we'll slide that bad boy on. Then we've got our 4mm nut. That's supposed to go on top of the washer. And then the nut this time. So yeah, just thought I'd have to edit it in because I forgot to put that on. But yes, so if you see me doing this up, I don't know what I'm doing in post-edit. But the washer goes on. Don't forget it. So we should fill this bottom out. Or what do you call it? I hit the end and then we'll talk it after. So like that. Now it's hard. Boom. Alright, now that part's done. Alright, so we're gonna snug this up. You know what? I'll just go back to once I've got this snug. So that's all nice and snug. We are now going to put the rotor back on and the caliper back on. So sometimes you can just slide that straight back on. Unlike me, yeah, fucking terrible luck and loves to be a pain. So I pull one of the brake pads out and then put it on, and then I'll just open the caliper and then put it back in. But yeah, so I put more gloves on just to keep all the dirty grub fingers and greases off the rotor, like I should have done the first time. But yeah, so we'll go do that now. Alright, rotor back on. Remember to remove those screws when you're done. Just stop it from clicking. Back up before, because now you've broken all that rust and stuff free. The dog hair again. I just like to chuck 2 of these on. Makes it a lot easier when trying to put the rotor back on. Oh, not the rotor, caliper. So like that, and then yeah, I'm just gonna cut to taking this rope off because it is fucking a bit of an asshole. But yeah, so you're just gonna try and slide it back on. If not, just pull one of the brake pads out from inside. So you can just reach in, pull one out, and then put it back on, and then you're cold. So yeah. So I've got the caliper back on, just on the bolts up. I did have to take out a brake pad. So yeah, so I'm just gonna do these up and then I'll crack the bottom nut. So you might have to pinch it with a locking nose pliers or just pliers if you're strong enough. Undo that nut and then it should just be able to swing open. If not, you might have to crack this nut up here just so it can pivot open and you can slide your brake pads in. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that. So now, what? So just grab your brake pad, put it back in here, and then I'm gonna move the light out. And then we're just gonna close the caliper back up. I'm just gonna give her a bit of a wiggle because it might be stuck on the pistons. And then yeah, so I'm just gonna give her a bit of a wiggle because I haven't pushed the pistons back. Sometimes I get caught on the anti-rattle material. There we go. Now we'll do the thing out. So push that back a tiny bit more. I know it's caught on something, so just the anti-rattle material. So yeah, should just make that back down a bit and then put that bolt through and tighten her up. So now we're going to take those lug nuts off and we're going to put the wheels back on. And then we'll so you're just going to do exactly what we did then on the other side. And then after that, we're going to, after you've done that, now we're going to take those lugs off of this, put the wheels back on. We're going to lower it down onto some ramps, well I am because my car's lowered. That way I can access these bolts again. And then we're going to torque them. So yeah. So we've got both wheels back on now. That side's done. That side's done. So jack her up to take off the jack stands, and then I'm going to be putting my big ramps on there. Another one's there, yep. Since my car is lowered, it is harder to get under to place. That's why I need the bigger ramps. I do have small ones, but I'm just going to make it easier on myself. So I'm just going to cut to once I've gotten this off the jack stands and onto the ramps, and then we'll go ahead with the torquing the bolts. So we are going to torque this now. From what I found, this bolt is torqued to between, I think it's 90 and 100 Newton meters. So I've got mine set to 94, so just basically in the middle. And so yeah, I'm going to tighten that up. I'm going to put the torque wrench in here. That's my torque wrench. And a thing to hold the nut on the other end, and I'm just going to torque that down to spec. Hopefully on an easier bolt I'll be able to show you. So now we're doing the 30mm nut. This one is, I think it's 95 to 110 Newton meters, so I'm doing 105 in the middle. So we're going to do either side again, just like we did for these ones. Sorry, there's like no room under here. I have to show you on the front nuts. But so yeah, we're doing this to 105 Newton meters. So now we're doing the front caster nuts. These are 140 to 155 Newton meters. I literally do not have a stand to try and torque this down, which fucking sucks. So I'm gonna do this one, and then I'm gonna see if I can angle some boxes for over on that one. Alright, well, we've got this bolt wrench out. I wasn't able to get an angle for that, sorry, but I can at least show you all the way on the wheels. So I'm going to say, while we already have it out, might as well just torque the wheels down. So I looked up 110 newton meters for the wheels. I've just got mine set to 100. And now to do the other side. Alright. Now we are ready to go for a test drive to see if that weird wheel clicking forward is fixed. I'll show you. You should have seen the example earlier in the video. Hopefully that's fixed now. Now that it's all done, you want to go get a wheel on. It's always recommended. I don't think you really have to, but it's always best just to be safe on the road, you know. So look after yourselves, get a wheel alignment. It's better paying like 60-70 bucks and totaling the car. But yeah, so that's how you change your lower control arms and your caster bushes.